Hey there, and welcome back to the Leading Yourself podcast. This is Carolina, and I am so glad that you pressed play today. We're doing something a little different in this episode today. So instead of focusing on doing more, pushing harder, or adding new goals to our plates, we're flipping the script. Today, we're talking about letting go. Because sometimes growth doesn't come from piling more on, it comes from releasing what's not longer serving you, from clearing the mental clutter and softening the grip, making space. So in today's episode, I'm walking you through 10 powerful things to let go of. Not all at once, not perfectly, but one breath, one choice, one moment at a time. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Leading Yourself podcast. This is your host, Carolina de Arriba. I'm an HR professional, coach, wife, mom, and above all things, a goal-getter. In this podcast, we're going to be digging into all things leadership, professional and career development, habits, and relationships. This is a podcast for those who want to become the best version of themselves. Those who have big dreams and are willing to embrace the journey and put in the work to achieve them. My goal is to share with you the tools, tips, and tricks to help you in your journey. So let's dig into today's episode. Okay, are you ready to let go today? Yes, we're letting go. Today's episode, we're talking about something that's just as important, if not more, than all the goals we're chasing, all the habits we're building, and all the strategies that we're learning. Because sometimes it's not about adding more to our lives, it's about letting go. Letting go of the things that are silently holding us back. The stories, patterns, the pressure we carry that quietly shape how we move through our days, how we show up at work, in our relationships, in our routines, and even in our dreams. Now, I don't know about you, but I've spent a lot of seasons in my life trying to get it all right, trying to become the best version of myself by doing more and trying harder and pushing forward. And while that effort helped me to grow, it also came with a lot of weight that I didn't realize I was carrying. I want this episode to feel like we're sitting down together, maybe with a coffee in hand and taking a breath. Not to hustle harder, but to pause and reflect. To ask ourselves, what's not longer serving me? What am I ready to release? What would be possible if I just let go of one thing? We're going to talk about 10 powerful things to consider releasing. Not because you're doing life wrong, but because you're growing. And part of growth is clearing space for what really matters. So if you've been feeling heavy, if you've been stuck in a pattern that no longer serves you or feels like you, or if you're just ready to feel lighter, clearer, more grounded, this conversation is for you. So why don't we get started? Let's do it. How about we start with a big one? Letting go of the need for other people's approval. We've all done it. We post something and instantly check for likes. We make decisions with someone else's voice in our head. We delay a dream because we're afraid someone will judge us. I've been there, afraid to speak up in meetings unless I knew it would land perfectly. Holding back on launching something until it felt polished enough to please everyone. But the truth is, you can't control other people's opinions. And you're not meant to. You weren't put here to live a life that looks good to others. You're here to live a life that feels good to you. And that means learning to validate yourself, to listen inward before you look outward, to stop editing who you are only for other people to accept you or to praise you. Letting go of approval doesn't mean being reckless. It means being free. So I want to invite you to ask yourself this question. If you didn't need anyone's approval, what would you do differently this week? Think about that for a second. What would you do differently? How would your week look differently if you were not constantly seeking for other people's approvals? Okay, the second one on our list is your comfort zone. Comfort zones feel cozy until they start to feel suffocating. We all have one, whether it's a set of routines, roles, just the rhythm that feels familiar. But growth doesn't live there. Growth lives just beyond it, right? Growth happens outside of your comfort zone. And that's not always about making massive changes. When I talk to people about you need to leave your comfort zone if you want to grow, people think about taking high risk and going to places that scare them. But sometimes stepping out of your comfort zone is as simple as speaking up when you would usually stay quiet, or saying yes to something that scares you just a little, or trying a new routine or a new class or a new idea. When I launched this podcast, I had no idea what I was doing. I just knew I had a passion for this. I had something to say. I wanted to do it. There was this inside me that had been growing for over a year, telling me to start a podcast. But the fear of leaving my comfort zone stopped me from starting. It felt super scary to do it. But the moment I said yes, even with the fear, even with the doubt, even with the imposter syndrome, something unlocked. I've been doing this for almost 6 years. And I'm still learning and I'm still growing and I'm still not perfect. And there are days that I'm a little scared about what am I going to talk or how is it going to land with you. But I keep going. I keep stretching myself outside of my comfort zone. The growth zone isn't always comfortable, but it's where the magic happens. So let me ask you this. What is one small way you can stretch your comfort zone this week? It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be super scary. Just one small way that you can stretch your comfort zone this week. Okay, number 3, things to let go, all stories about yourself. You are not the same person you were 5 years ago, even 5 months ago. So why are you still carrying the same story? Maybe your story says something like, I'm not good at that, or I always mess that up, or I'm not the kind of person who does, you fill the blanks. These stories have been started from maybe a single moment, or a comment, or a mistake, or a limiting belief that you used to have, but they don't have to define you. You are the author of your life, and you get to rewrite the script anytime that you decide to. When I started coaching, I kept telling myself I'm not a real coach because I didn't had a certification for coaching, but I had a passion for it. I wanted to do it. I wanted to try it. I didn't have formal training. So I kept telling myself I'm not a real coach because I don't have a paper that says I'm a real coach when I started. I didn't realize how much that was holding me back from showing up with confidence. And because I didn't have that confidence in myself, I was not able to serve the people I was trying to help to the full of my capacities. So I went and pursued the training and all of that. And what I realized is the training was great, but what made the difference was rewriting the script, the story that I was telling to myself. So I started to say, instead of I'm not a real coach, I flipped that to I'm not a real coach yet. I added the word yet at the end. That started to change my mindset. And then at one point, I changed it again to say, I am becoming an amazing coach. And that was true because every time I would meet with someone and coach someone, formally or informally, I was getting better at it. And that was growing my confidence more than any certificate could. When I began to shift the story, to remind myself that I was a coach, doing the work, making the impact, everything changed. So let me ask you this today. What old story are you ready to let go of? And what new one are you ready to tell? Let's move on to number 4. The 4th thing to let go of is dwelling on the past or the future. This one is hard because our minds love to time travel. Let's be honest. We replay past mistakes. We overthink future outcomes. We dwell, we worry, we project. But the truth is, the only place life is actually happening is now. You can't change the past. You can predict the future, but you can't fully live this moment. When I find myself spiraling into what ifs or replaying something I said wrong, what I try to do is to pause and ask, what is true right now? What's right in front of me right now? You know, mindfulness isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. So letting go of the past and the future and just being present in the moment can be a difference maker. If you're time traveling too often, and don't get me wrong, I think it is important to time travel, right? We want to spend very little time looking into the past just to extract lessons learned that can help us going forward, whether in the present or the future. We want to dream about the future. We want to have that compelling vision of our future. But we should not spend the majority of our time there. The majority of our time should be spent in the moment, today, in this moment. So here is my invitation for you today. Let go of the need to rehash or rehearse and return to what's real. Okay, let's move to number 5. The 5th thing to let go is the need for control. Okay, this is a really hard one for me. If you're someone who loves to plan, who loves checklists or a color-coded calendar, you're not alone. I'm part of that club too. Control makes us feel safe. It makes things feel predictable and steady. But what I've learned is that it's an illusion. You can plan your day down to the minute and still get hit by the unexpected. What we can control is how we show up, how we respond, the energy that we bring, our attitude, the effort we put into things. Those are things that we can control. Letting go of control isn't about giving up. It's about loosening the grip. It's about trusting yourself to adapt, to pivot, to lead through uncertainty. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is, I don't have all the answers, but I trust myself to figure it out. That is one sentence that I repeat myself on an ongoing basis. I might not have all the answers. I don't need to have all the answers, but I trust myself to figure it out. That for me is the definition of confidence. A lot of times we think confidence is about having the competence. And yes, the more competent you become, the more you grow your confidence. Like when I was talking about my example of becoming a coach. But at the bottom line, confidence is just our own belief and trust in ourselves that we will figure things out, that we don't need to be in control of everything. Acknowledging that change is the only constant, that we're bombarded by the unexpected, and that the only way forward is to trust that we can figure it out. Let's move to the 6th thing to let go of, and that is the need for certainty. We crave clarity. We want to know the path, the timeline, the outcome. And in a world that moves fast and praises control, it makes total sense. But here's the thing. Certainty is comforting, but it's not always available. So often we delay action until we know for sure. We hold back from the thing that we feel pulled to do until we can guarantee we'll be successful, be perfect, or make sense for everyone around us. I can feel everyone listening right now nodding their heads. We all have been there at one point. But here's the thing, life doesn't work like that. In my own journey, some of the most meaningful steps that I've taken, like starting this podcast, like pivoting in my career, like launching Thrive, which by the way, let's make a pause to tell you a little bit about Thrive. Hey friend, quick pause because I've got something really exciting to share with you. Thrive is back. That's right. Thrive 2025 is happening this September 8th through the 12th, and you're officially invited. If you've been craving to boost your clarity, confidence, and energy to finish the year strong, this is your moment. Thrive started as a way to celebrate my birthday during the pandemic, and now it's become a tradition. 5 days of powerful conversations, inspirations, and real tools to help you elevate every area of your life. That's our theme this year, elevate, because you're not here to play small. We've got an incredible lineup of speakers, and yes, I'll be teaching too, and you can join for just $1. Yes, $1 gives you live access to the 5 days, and we have other ticket options with replays and workbooks and VIP perks. So head to the link on the description of this podcast episode to grab your spot before it fills up. I can't wait to see you at Thrive 2025. As I was saying, in my own journey, some of the most meaningful steps that I've taken, like starting this podcast, pivoting in my career, launching Thrive, none of them came with a roadmap. They came with a feeling, a nudge, a whisper that said, try, do it, follow this dream. And I've come to believe this. You don't need certainty to move forward. You need courage. You need curiosity. You need clarity on who you want to become, not clarity on every step it takes to get there. Letting go of the need of certainty opens you up to possibility. It creates space for growth, for surprises, for creativity, and most importantly, for trust. So this week, here's my invitation for you. Instead of waiting until you feel 100% certain, what if you took the next step that feels aligned? Let's move to number 7, letting go of being productive all the time. Okay, confession, this one is personal. For so long, I wore busy like a badge of honor. If I wasn't doing 3 things at once, I felt behind. If my to-do list wasn't color-coded and maxed out, I thought I wasn't doing enough. But here's the truth. Being busy isn't the same as being fulfilled. And being productive all the time, that's not a requirement for being worthy. We are not machines. We are not here to constantly create an output. We are human beings with rhythms, with emotions, with seasons, with needs. And if we only measure ourselves by what we accomplish, we miss the depth of who we are being. Letting go of this obsession with productivity doesn't mean you stop being driven or ambitious. It means that you start defining success in your own terms. Some days, rest is productive. Some days, a long walk, a phone call with a friend, or a slow afternoon is exactly what your nervous system needs to recalibrate and move forward with intention. And to double down on your productivity, let's be honest. We all have heard the expression, sharpen the saw. You can't keep cutting trees nonstop if you don't stop to sharpen the saw. You can't keep driving if you don't stop to refill your tank, right? So give yourself permission to pause, to breathe, to stop treating rest like something that you have to earn. You don't have to prove your worth through constant motion. That is a lesson I learned the hard way. Okay, number 8, letting go of feeling 100% ready. Let me say this plainly. You will rarely, if ever, feel 100% ready. And if you're waiting for that magical moment, when the stars align, when your confidence is at 100%, when the timing is perfect, you might wait forever. Because readiness isn't a feeling you sit around and wait for. It's something that you build through action. The first time I recorded a podcast episode, I wasn't ready. When I started Thrive, I had zero clue of what I was doing. I wasn't ready at all. When I said yes to career pivots or big opportunities, I was scared, uncertain, very much not ready. But I did it anyways. And what I've learned in this is that you become ready by beginning. So if there's something on your heart right now, a dream, a decision, a bold step, this is your permission to start before you're ready. You don't need confidence. You need a little bit of faith and a whole lot of courage. That's it. Number 9, letting go of perfection. Perfection, our all exhausting friend. Let me save you years of stress and self-doubt with this one. Perfection doesn't exist. Seriously, it's not a standard. is a moving target that keeps you stuck. And here's the kicker. It's often just fear in disguise. We tell ourselves we are just being thorough or that we hold high standards. But sometimes we're really just scared to be seen as flawed or to fail or not to get it right. Letting go of perfection is not about lowering your standards. It's about honoring your humanity. It's about doing the best and letting that be enough. Because when you chase perfection, you delay progress. Let me say that one more time. When you chase perfection, you delay progress. You avoid starting, or you start but you never finish. You polish until the spark is gone. But when you embrace excellence with flexibility, when you focus on impact over image, you free yourself to actually move, grow, and create. Progress over perfection, always. This is one of my mantras. Progress over perfection. And I repeat this to myself often when I find myself using perfection as an excuse for procrastinating. Okay, let's end with a big one. Judgment. Judgment of ourselves, of others, of where we should be by now. This one, I think, creeps in quietly. It can sound like, I should be further along, or why can she do it and I can't, or what's wrong with me? But judgment is not the path to growth. Judgment keeps us stuck in comparison, in shame, in disconnection. It's that voice that says we're never enough and no one else is either. The opposite of judgment is compassion and curiosity. What if instead of judging our progress, we ask, what's really going on here? What do I need? What would support look like? What if instead of judging someone else's choices, you thought maybe there's more to their story? Maybe we're just in different chapters. Releasing judgment doesn't mean you stop having standards or opinions. It means you stop using them to punish yourself or to create distance from others. Because when you lead with compassion, everything changes. You soften, you connect, you grow. And isn't that the whole point? So there you have it. 10 things to let go to lead yourself forward. Not all at once, not perfectly, but intentionally, gradually, with grace. Letting go isn't giving up. It's about making space for peace, for purpose, for possibility. So here's your challenge for this week. Pick one of these 10 and reflect on it. Ask yourself, what would it look like to release this from my life, even just a little? Write it down, talk it out, practice it, and notice how even small shifts create space for something better. And if this episode resonated with you, as always, please share it. Send it to a friend who might need this reminder. Leave a review on our podcast or message me on Instagram at Leading Yourself Podcast or at LinkedIn. And I just would love to hear your takeaway. Remember, you don't need to do more to be worthy. You're already enough. So until next time, keep releasing and keep raising and keep leading yourself forward. I hope you have an amazing week, and I will see you here again next week for another episode of the Leading Yourself podcast. Okay, my friend, that's all I've got for you today. But before you go, 2 quick reminders. Number 1, if we're not already friends on Instagram, let's get connected. You can find me as Leading Yourself Podcast. Number 2, make sure you're subscribed to the podcast so you never miss an episode. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am incredibly grateful that you're in this journey with me. I want to leave you with one last thought. I want to remind you that you're destined for more and that every step that you take brings you closer to becoming that best version of yourself. Embrace each day as a chance to learn, grow, and chase your dreams. The world needs you to shine brightly, so go out and show up fully and authentically. Take care, and I'll see you next time.